A couple of weeks ago, we shared a conversation that I had with two of my high school friends where we discussed the top 5 home runs as I chose them from Mike Schmidt's career. The thing is, Mike Schmidt hit 548 regular season home runs in his career, and that doesn't count his all-star home run or his postseason home runs. So narrowing down the list to just 5 was a difficult task, and one that, by design, left out a number of home runs that were very significant in his career. This week, I'm going to take bits and pieces of that conversation that wound up on the cutting room floor, and we're going to talk about other home runs that were still very significant in the career of Mike Schmidt. I also asked Ray, who has his own YouTube channel, Ray from Philly, that concentrates on baseball card collecting, if he would comment on what he would have included in his top 5 list of Mike Schmidt's home runs. Welcome to Philadelphia Baseball History. On this channel, we talk about the history of baseball from the A's to the Phillies to the 19th century. And sometimes we talk about contemporary baseball issues. So if you love baseball and if you love Philadelphia, stick around and subscribe to our channel. How do you show your home team pride? With mugs, t-shirts, masks, phone cases, tote bags, and so much more. Check out tpublic.com and search for Philadelphia Baseball History. First, let me take you back to 1986. That's the year that the Mets were on fire. So much so that when the Mets came to Philadelphia for a series against the Phillies, the Mets fans practically took over Veterans Stadium.
I remember going to a Mets game in the spring, and it wasn't that bad yet because the Mets were just starting to come into their own. But I remember hearing from friends of mine that it was a New York crowd at the Vet.
Yes. Did you go with me in '86 to that weekend when the Phillies were playing the Mets? I went to 2 of those games. I know Jeff went to a game with me. I went to 2 of them. We were up in the 700 level at Veterans Stadium. We're surrounded by Mets fans because '86.
This was when, I was there. Did we go Friday? I didn't go Saturday. I went Friday and Sunday. That I remember because I skipped Saturday. I'm like, oh hell, now I have to go Sunday.
But I went up. I was sitting up in the 700 section, and Mets fans, they had bought Philly Fanatic dolls and they were burning them in effigy. Rowdy. I'm like, Jesus, I'm scared for my life. I'm like a 15-year-old boy, scared for my life in my own damn stadium because of the Mets fans. And yet,
I was just an idiot then because I wasn't scared. I should have been probably. I just wasn't scared.
There were many times you should have been frightened and you never were.
This is very true, actually.
Yeah.
It's like, your life's actually in danger. I'm like, really? Okay.
Yeah, that's why you joined the military, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we didn't.
I won't go into Afghanistan. Yet despite playing for his second-place team, Mike Schmidt won the National League MVP award in 1986. He batted .290 and led the National League in home runs with 36 and RBIs with 119. On September 12, 1986, the Mets had a 22-game lead over the Phillies, and they came into Philadelphia for a 3-game series. That meant they only needed to win 1 game in that weekend series in order to clinch the division. And in that first game of the series, Mike Schmidt set the tone when he came to bat in the 5th inning with 2 men on and nobody out.
Hits it solidly to straightaway center. He really nailed it. 3-run home run for Schmidt. Phillies lead the Mets 5-0. A center field home run for Schmidt.
By the time the series ended, Mike Schmidt was batting .293 on the season. He had gotten 3 hits, scored 3 times, and knocked in 6 RBIs in that series. Ray told me that he would have added Mike Schmidt's second home run from the 1980 World Series that came in Game 5. This was the last game that took place in Kansas City. I asked Ray to describe for me what was going on in his head when he was watching the game.
That game scared me. When I saw Kansas City tie it up 2 games apiece and then going into that Sunday night Game 5 game, all of a sudden, for the first time that whole playoff series, World Series, I started to lose a little bit of confidence. I thought Kansas City might have been turning the corner there a little bit. And when I saw Schmidt come up the plate and, yeah, he had a good series with Montreal, but he didn't have a very good playoff series against Houston. And that was Schmidt's MO. Before that was, he'd have great regular seasons and would come up kind of small in the playoffs. And I seen Schmidt come up to play. If there's any time that he's got to step up, this has got to be the occasion. And thank God he did. And I think he just had a great World Series, and that changed the whole momentum around, especially when he was on first and he scored all the way from first on the Dulunser hit. I said, I can't believe he flew from first to home. Nothing was stopping Schmidt in that game, in that series. You could tell that this was his time. And that home run the whole momentum just changed after that. I think it totally bursted the balloon out of Kansas City's air.
So when Mike Schmidt came to the plate in the 4th inning with 1 man on and 1 man out, well, let's let Joe Garagiola explain what happened.
Well hit. Center field. Otis is going back near the warning track. It is a home run. 2-0 Phillies. There are some Philly fans here, but right now, a little quiet here at Royal Stadium as Mike Schmidt hits his second home run of this series, and the Phillies lead 2-0.
1981 was an interesting season for the Phillies. They were the defending world champions, and most of the 1980 team had come back. So there were a lot of high hopes that the Phillies would repeat as the world champions. But for much of the early part of that season, the hype was dominated by a certain left-handed rookie pitcher playing for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Valenzuela won the Cy Young that year and the Rookie of the Year. I mean, it was a damn good pitcher.
He was.
At that time. And yeah, Fernando Mania hit Los Angeles like wildfire. The Phillies first faced Fernando Valenzuela on May 18th, 1981.
And no, I don't think anybody really agrees with me on this, but the home run he hit first time he ever faced Fernando Valenzuela, to me, that's a big deal because it was Fernando Mania going on. The guy was unbeaten. He was, the next generation of great pitcher, and Schmidt, and the guy was, I think, obviously he was undefeated before he played the Phillies that time, and nobody was really touching him. And then Schmidt comes up first inning, first time he sees the guy, hits a home run. I think that's pretty impressive. I think, to me, at least at the time, again, just the best versus the best, and Schmidt always, Schmidt came out on top on that one as well. So I like that one, but.
Even with the strike in 1981, Mike Schmidt's numbers were very impressive. He hit 31 home runs, which is enough for many sluggers for an entire season. But even though the Phillies had problems getting motivated for the second half of the 1981 season, Mike Schmidt didn't. His numbers were impressive enough to earn him his second National League MVP award.
Finished with 31 homers that year.
The numbers, if you work them out, he was at a home run every 11.42 at bat, which was the same number from the year before.
Right.
And if you think about it, if he had a full season and was at that rate, 48, 50 home runs.
Another 48, 50 homer year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mike Schmidt had already shown that he had a tendency to excel against left-handed pitching. That Schmidt had a much higher batting average and much higher batting in general against lefties than he did against righties.
I knew he was better against lefties, but I didn't know how much better. It wasn't even close.
Right, because in his career, I got his numbers here. In his career, batting average 258 against righties, 297 against lefties. That's a almost 40-point difference. The average, because a right-handed batter usually does better against a left-handed pitcher. Left-handed batter usually does better against a right-handed pitcher. You just get that extra split second where you can see the ball. The average major league player is about 20 points difference between lefties and righties. To be a 40-point difference, and the way Schmidt did it, which is also amazing, is his numbers against righties were good, and his numbers against lefties were outstanding. Which, I mean, if you compare it to, say, the big piece, Ryan Howard could not hit lefties. He had another huge shift. I think I got those numbers too. In his career, Howard was 205. Nope, that's in 2016. I'm sorry. But Howard's numbers against righties and lefties there was like usually a 50-point shift, but he's batting 207 against lefties.
Wow.
Right. So putting that into perspective, Howard, did worse against lefties, but much worse. Whereas when Schmidt did worse against righties, he was still doing higher than average, is my point. Mike Schmidt hit that home run in the first inning, and that was a 1-0 shutout. So that was a game-winning hit in the first inning that stood up. And we had discussed this before. That's not the only time Schmidt has done that if hit the game-winning home run in the first inning because of how great Phillies pitching was here. I mean, October 4th, 1983, Game 1 of the NLCS against the Dodgers. Schmidt hits a first inning solo home run. So here we are again. He hits it against the Dodgers. Steve Carlton was the starting pitcher. Al Holland came in to continue to shut down the Dodgers, and they threw a 1-0 shutout to win the first game of 1983. In 1983, the Phillies, while they were celebrating their centennial season, reunited Pete Rose with two of his former teammates from the Big Red Machine, Tony Perez and Joe Morgan. Affectionately, because of the age of the team collectively, they were known as the Wheeze Kids. It was with a strong September performance that the Wheeze Kids won the National League East and faced the Los Angeles Dodgers in the 1983 NLCS. And once again, in the first inning, Mike Schmidt hit a very significant home run. In Game 1 in Los Angeles, the Phils faced Jerry Royce, who had an ERA of 2.94 on the season. Mike Schmidt came to bat in the first inning with 2 outs and nobody on.
Average about 37 home runs a year the last 10 years. And he hits a high fly ball into deep center. Back goes Landreau on the track at the wall. Times the leap and can't get it. Home run for Mike Schmidt. That's the 10th home run he's hit against Jerry Royce. And the Phillies have a 1-0 lead.
And continuing with the theme of first inning game-winning home runs, let's talk about opening day 1984. Carlton again was on the mound. He throws a shutout against the Braves, 5-0. Schmidt gets the game winner, a solo home run in the first inning. And now let's continue with the theme of opening day home runs. Let's talk about opening day of 1974, April 6, 1974. The Phillies faced the Mets at Veterans Stadium, and the Phillies were down 4-3 in the bottom of the 9th inning. Schmidt was coming off of this horrific rookie season, and he was batting 8th in the order. He faced future teammate Tug McGraw. Tony Taylor started off the inning with a single, and then the Phillies used a pinch runner. Bob Boone laid down a sacrifice bunt to move the runner up into scoring position. Schmidt came to the plate with 1 out, 1 man on, and 1 run down. And he hit a walk-off game-winning home run off of his future teammate. And then with Gary and Paul, we talked about Mike Schmidt's breakout season of 1974.
74, I think he's 74. He had 30-some home runs. I think 74, 75. He had 36 or something.
36, you are correct. He led the majors with 36 home runs. Then in 1975, he leads both 75 and 76. He leads the majors again with 38 home runs.
Yeah. Wow.
That 1974 season included a very unusual but impressive feat by Mike Schmidt. June 10th, 1974. Not a home run, but he hits a ball off the speaker of the Astrodome roof.
The long single.
Winds up being a long single, but definitely showed Schmidt's power. And now let's end the discussion with one more April home run. Let's talk about Mike Schmidt's rookie season in 1973. Mike Schmidt's rookie season was mostly forgettable, but he did have a significant event when the Cardinals came to Philadelphia on April 22nd, 1973.
So one of your other honorable mentions there was the Bob Gibson home run, which is one of the greatest pitchers that was, around too. So.
April 2nd, 1973. Mike Schmidt was in his rookie year. His rookie year was horrible. He hit 196.
190. That's right.
Yep, he hit 196. In the second game of a doubleheader, going into the ninth inning, the Phils and Cardinals were tied 1 apiece, and Mike Schmidt faced Bob Gibson, the Cardinals' legendary pitcher. And with 2 outs, Mike Schmidt launched the first home run of his full rookie season. I mean, you had Bob Gibson. Bob Gibson was the most intimidating pitcher from the late 60s, early 70s. And Schmidt, walk-off fashion, ninth inning. Like a changing of the guard there.
Was that his first home run?
No.
Yeah. Okay. I think he had one, maybe in 72, I think.
Okay.
And 18, I think, right, in 73?
Correct, 18 and 73. This wasn't Schmidt's first home run of his career. He hit his first home run as a September call-up in 1972. That took place on September 16th, 1972, and Schmidt's homer ended a 25-inning scoreless streak by Expos pitcher Baylor Moore. So now it's your turn. Do you think we missed any other home runs that were significant in Mike Schmidt's career? If so, let us know in the comments below. Give us a like, tell your friends about us, and don't forget to subscribe. Special thanks to Ray from Philly for participating in today's discussion. Ray from Philly is a channel that focuses on baseball card collecting, so please, by all means, go and check out Ray's channel. I'll have a link to Ray's channel in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you have any ideas for topics that we can cover in the future, please let us know in the comments below. If you would like to see more of these videos, please consider becoming a patron through Patreon. Again, we'll have a link in the description box below.